Before we have our next artist, Graham Dallas,
I'll show you the video where we've done.
we're going to have another couple of speeches. There's a guy who regularly speaks at the Hope Over Fear event. Some of you will remember his speeches. A guy who sends his best wishes today can't be with us because he's otherwise detained. His name's Craig Murray. And I want to send a message to Craig that our love and solidarity is with you as you reside in Stockton prison right now. An establishment I know a wee bit about. I've been in there myself. I'm sure he'll be treated with the respect and dignity he deserves, but he certainly shouldn't be behind bars. Let's hear from Dave Llewellyn of the Craig Murray Justice Campaign.
Try it again. Mine's is alright.
This is a speech I never hoped to be making. Basically, my friend Craig Murray is now 16 days away from being halfway through an 8-month sentence for telling the truth. Basically, on the 16th of March 2020, I stood outside Edinburgh High Court talking to Craig. The Craig had just arrived the day before from reporting the Assange trial down in London, and he was the only journalist that was allowed in that court. The only one. None of the mainstream media were allowed in. He got in because basically he was friends with the family. And so basically he came up and he says to me just outside, this was about 20 to 9 in the morning, he says, Davey, he says, I don't know how it's possible for people like Julian Assange and Alex Salmond to have the weight of the state on top of them. I don't know how I would survive. 20 minutes later, we walked into the court and 2 police people come up to us and said, oh, you can't go in. You can't go in. You've been banned for the court by the judge. It's alright, you can go in, I can go in, but Craig had to go. And the wee police sergeant come up to me and says, don't worry Davey, he's not in any bother. Well, he's now halfway through an 8-month sentence because he actually reported what was going on in that court. He reported stuff that most people aren't allowed to hear, but he didn't actually report what was illegal. But nobody else reported the defence case in that case. He was the only person. He was the only person that sat beside him, and he sat with his wee notebook. Craig's he's a wee bit bad with his sight, and he writes with his left hand. And he sat scribbling everything absolutely perfectly. Every witness that came up, everything. He wrote it all down. I didn't do that. I was making videos because I wasn't allowed to use my phone in the court. So he was writing it all down. And there we have it. The next thing is, he gets charged with this jigsaw identification. Jigsaw identification, which nobody has ever been jailed for in the history of the world. The last people that were jailed in the UK for any kind of contempt of court with the media was 50 years ago, and the last time it happened in Scotland was 70 years ago. All Craig Murray did was report the defence case that none of the mainstream media would actually do, which means that you are all being told lies by omission and you're not able to make a judgment. Well, the jury heard the same thing that I heard, and they heard the same thing that Craig Murray heard. And guess what? They came to the same decision. They came to the same verdict. So there was something no right there, so they decided, okay, let's do something about it. Let's do something about it. Now, Lady Dorian is the second highest judge in Scotland. She sat in that court on the Alex Salmond trial. She sat in the court over Craig Murray, who was not allowed a jury. You're entitled to a jury, your peers in this country. No jury. They didn't want a jury for Alex Salmond. But, so they carry on. And now, she sat on Craig's trial, she sat on Craig's appeal, and she sat on the thing to refuse his right to appeal to the Supreme Court in London. And these are things that had to go through everything. Well, why is he going to a UK court? Because if he wants to go to the European Court of Human Rights, he has to go through every single legal option in this country. And that, unfortunately, includes the Supreme Court. So we move away from that. What's happening now? What's happening now? Craig is doing another little loop that he's got to jump through. He's making an appeal to the Nobile Officium, which is basically the court of last resort in Scotland, which you have to do before you can do anything else. It has to be done. Joanna Cherry used it last year with the prorogation of Parliament when she took Boris Johnson to court. So that's been done at the moment. The campaign committee don't have a lot of hope that there's going to be any success, because Lady Dorian is now actually, she's now lobbying the government. She's now lobbying the government to have all sex cases heard without juries. There you go. Yeah, what, exactly. How can you possibly have a judge who's a lobbyist? It's not right. Where is the justice? Where is the democracy? And anybody that says it, anybody that tells you, gets their door battered in with the police and gets dragged away. Because that's what happened to me. Right, so, anyway, we go through the Nobile Officium. Craig is going to be finished his sentence on St Andrew's Day this year. He'll never get that time back. His wife, who's been working a miracle with a brand new baby, and his 12-year-old son, who's not been able to see his father since the 1st of August, has had no, his son's only been able to see him on video because he can't go to the jail because she's got to look after the baby at the weekends. So so the only other visits on a school day. So much for the rights of the child that the Scottish Government are bringing in. Under normal circumstances, Craig could be he'd be entitled to get early release on a tag. But he's a civil prisoner. Only criminals can get out on a tag. And Keith Brown could change that with one stroke of the pen on a secondary legislation to make it, or a statutory instrument, to make it the same for civil prisoners and criminal prisoners. And he's not done it. He's the Justice Minister. So Keith Brown, are you happy with this situation? Are you happy that Scotland jails journalists because it reflects badly in our country?
Sorry, on you go.
So, Craig's going to be out on the 30th of November, but the campaign continues. As I say, the next step is the European Court of Human Rights, and they will overturn this verdict, and Craig's reputation will be restored. And when that's, and why it's important for every single one of you out here, whoever writes a post on Facebook or Twitter, is that's publishing. And if you write anything on there that they don't like, they can do something about it. And now, bloggers or people who write on social media do not have the same protection that you get if you are writing for a newspaper. So here's a wee thing here. Let's take wee Ginger Doug. Wee Ginger Doug's got a blog, but he writes for the National. Wee Ginger Doug could write the same article in the National that he writes in his blog and get jailed for writing in his blog and not get jailed for writing it in the paper. That's the country we're in at the minute. And Craig Murray is away from his family. He's away from keeping us informed about what's happening in the world. Because the government and the judiciary do not like it that you are informed. Well, today's have been informed. Thank you very much for listening.